we're live.
Like on TV. We are. We are. Hi, I'm Joel Furchess for The Mentionables, and today we're going to continue to look at 10 questions to ask every Christian. Here's the next question.
Oh, natural disasters. That's another thing. Do you think this is God's way of controlling the planet's population? Or just another thing God chooses to do to his people out of spite? I mean, killing thousands of people in a tsunami just doesn't sound something a loving being would do.
I would say that natural disasters are neither population control nor are they spiteful activities by God. By and large, what we call natural disasters are really just natural processes that mankind kind of got caught in the path of. Right? God created a world that functions off of these natural laws, and you get these cycles and these patterns and the way things work, like weather patterns. Right? Plate tectonics, you get an earthquake out in the ocean, you're going to end up with a tsunami. Right? You get the right kind of weather pattern, you're going to get a hurricane. Now, what if a tsunami happens and it washes up on a beach where no one lives? Is that a disaster? What if a tornado touches down where there are no trailer parks to wipe out? What if a hurricane blows in on a beach where no one lives? Are those disasters? Well, no, they're only disasters because people live there. But apart from that, they're not disasters. They're just the world doing what the world does. This points us back to, we have to get back to this idea of what is mankind created to do? We were created to take Eden and spread it through the wilderness across the world. Take paradise and make the rest of the world into paradise. These sorts of struggles, these sorts of disasters are exactly the kind of thing that mankind is supposed to be overcoming and is supposed to be planning, accounting, conditioning for, turning life in the wilderness into life in paradise. And oddly enough, even people who don't believe in God, we've been doing this. Right? In the last, century or so, what have we been talking about when it comes to a hurricane? You'll have a Category 4, Category 5 hurricane that blows on shore, and we don't have hundreds or thousands dead. The dead are in the double digits, sometimes even single digits. You'll have a tornado touch down and just tear through a city, and nobody dies because they had shelters, because they had early warning. Right? And so we've been doing exactly what our purpose is to bring peace, bring harmony in places where chaos and wilderness exists. And so when it comes to natural disasters, it's just the world doing what the world does. Our job is to find ways to either not get in the way or to mitigate the effects of these natural occurrences. And so rather than seeing natural disasters as something to blame God for, right, they stand as a reminder to us of our purpose, our task, and that we have a lot of work left to be done.
So again, we're going back to the problem of evil here again, and we're looking at natural evil. We know that many of the things that occur within Earth are consequences of the way our planet operates. But at the same time, we're also living in one of the most stable times in Earth's history from a life-sustaining perspective. At no other time would we have the resources for humanity to grow in the way it has. And we have unprecedented levels of climate stability compared to eons of time past on this planet. So, in a logical and order-based world, there are trade-offs. And we can't know for sure if the ultimate payoff would be good or bad, as we dealt with in questions 2 and 3 in dealing with the problem of evil. However, we're living at a time where natural disasters do occur. And again, as we talked about with the problem of evil, there are bad things that happen. Does God have sufficient reason or possible moral reasons for allowing these things to occur? I think he probably does.
So a hurricane sweeps up the coast and kills, say, 1,000 people. That's tragic. If it weren't for that hurricane, those 1,000 people might still be alive. Then again, they might not. It's 1,000 people. One of them's going to have a car accident. One's going to get cancer. One might get heart disease. In fact, all of them are going to die. So if the hurricane was not the correct way for them to die, what is the correct way? See, everybody's going to die. Everybody's going to die somehow. And so if God is going to be implicated for allowing a natural disaster, a hurricane, a tornado, something natural that kills people, even a disease, because diseases are natural, right? At what point do we say, this is the right way to die, this is the wrong way to die? You see, I see a lot of methods of death condemned as unfair from God. But I've never seen the fact of death being condemned as unfair. But let's say I take it that step further. Maybe I say that all death is tragic, no matter how it occurs. Well, then we have a God who would only be fair, only be just, only be right, if he were somehow to remove death entirely. Because that hurricane can only be said to be tragic if it were an off chance, an unusual event that caused death. But all people die. So let me ask, if you were to know that God had somehow created some way that death itself was eliminated, would he be fair then? That just so happens to be the message behind Christianity. Real or not, true or not, Christianity does not present a God who just allows people to die and leaves it at that. No, Christianity presents a God who is addressing the problem of death such that the problem itself will go away at some point. Now that God, fictional or not, is dealing with the problem. And so that particular God can't be implicated because he allows people to die one way, but it's okay for people to die the other. No, he says it's not okay for people to die at all. And that's the God of Christianity.